You're muted, Karen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being on the Zoom tonight. I look forward to all of our Tuesday night training calls because every single week I want us to bring something that can help you to take your business to a completely different level. Hopefully, tonight you will hear some things that will open up doors for you that weren't open before. And we have a wonderful guest tonight. She is a microscopic blood analysis. She lives on the prairie of Canada. She came on board with our friends, the sisters, as many of you have met before, with the Veracel, and she fell in love just like all of us have done with Veracel. So tonight I wanted to feature her because she has brought so much to our Facebook pages. We have been sharing her information. And so tonight, guys, I want you all to take note. And then after the Zoom, go to the Ford Team training page because she is going to be posting some new information and new pictures there as well. So I have asked my enroller, guess who that is? The one and only Mr. Tere and Mary Camp are here after traveling all over the world to help us to build our business to a bigger level. And he is going to be co-hosting with me tonight. And we're so excited to have he and Mary back in the United States. And we're grateful to have him here to co-host with us. And he always empowers every single one of us. So Tere, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you read a disclaimer and just take it away. And then we can go on to Karen in just a moment.
Awesome. Yes, it is good to be back in the US of A. And we were trouncing all over Europe. And next week we're off to Mexico and got a training to do down in Mexico because we got a bunch of people coming in there. And it's kind of a surreal life, Karen. That's God has just really blessed us. But at the same time, we want to go open all those markets because all y'all are going to then have the opportunity to have all kinds of people on your team from all over the globe. That's what this ultimately is about. And as we get started this evening, one thing that I would just preface, as we go through this, we have amazing products, and if you every time I do a presentation now, I touch on these different products that are there, and literally, gang, there are five different products that we have, five of them that 100 million to billion-dollar companies have been built around. Just think, let that set in. Five different products that in the past companies did either anywhere from 100 million to billions of dollars worth of sales for any one of them, and we have them all. So we have a very unique situation, but people can get lost in the weeds in all of that too. And so it's really important to understand that as we go through this, this is about building an army of people who get blessed with the products that we have in the way that they need, that they get value out of. What you're going to hear this evening is somebody who utilized one of those products and had some tremendous results, but also has seen other amazing results. And so before we do that, let me just pop this up here. We gotta do a little disclaimer just so everybody is aware that these testimonials are for educational and informational purposes only, and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or otherwise qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something learned in this presentation. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And in fact, individual results will vary because every body is different. So with that, we are going to dive into quite an amazing handful of stories that you're going to get to hear from this evening. And Karen Halwas is up in the Saskatchewan, Canada area. And it's great to have you on, Karen. Since most of you have all seen pictures of Karen strutting around in her bikini and stuff like that, because, well, you'll understand why if you haven't seen it yet. So, Karen, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. Thanks for
Good.
having me.
You bet. Great to have you on with us. So you've been on Veracel for how long?
I started in the middle of May of this year. So
Middle
two,
of
yeah,
May.
yeah,
Wow.
almost into 3 months here.
Okay. All right. All right. And had you taken other Ace Man and Base products in the past or not?
No, no, I have not. It was,
Okay.
yeah, the first time I've actually heard of it.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
And you did you go to the event in St. Joe, or did you just hear about Veracel from others?
yeah. I actually Leah. I don't know if she's on the call tonight or not, but she had when she was introduced to it, she immediately phoned me and said, I think you need to have a look at this. And she knew that I was doing blood analysis. So she said, I think that you need to have a look at this and see what it would do. So she sent me the information and some videos, and away I went.
So you do blood analysis for a living, correct?
I do. Yeah,
This is going to be very, very informative, gang, and excited
I
to have
hope
this
so.
conversation. Yeah, well, yeah, there'll be some cool things we can talk about. So, with that, though, you had your own results, and then you had some just separately. We got some pictures for the blood analysis. So, tell us about what happened with you, young lady.
Well, I had a lot going on, so I've actually I'm going to read it out because there's so much. I didn't want to forget anything. So if you're okay that I just read out my testimony and kind of what I went through.
Yeah, sure. Read it in character. Emote. Take people on an emotional roller coaster right now. Karen, go.
Okay. So my name is Karen Halwas, and I've been a health and wellness in the health and wellness industry for almost 3 decades as a microscopic blood analyst, massage therapist, and reflexologist. For most of my career, I've dedicated my life to helping others improve their health, balance their bodies, and feel their best. And I never imagined that one day it I would be the one fighting for my own health and life.
Wow.
So about 3 years ago, everything started to unravel for me. I had not been to a doctor in 28 years. I had been able to take care of my own health doing blood analysis. And so when things started to unravel and I couldn't figure it out, I actually had to um, approach a nurse practitioner and have some lab work done. Um, and in keeping with compliance too here, um, I just I had some issues with my thyroid and four little glands in my throat. I had an ultrasound done in October of 2024 that revealed multiple nodules showing up on all of these glands. I was told that these nodules do not go away and that they would be monitored for growth of the nodules and for the nasty C word. I was prescribed medication, but instead of improving, my health declined rapidly. My doctor told me I was the worst case she had ever seen in her entire career. And it was not something I wanted to be number one at, but I was. Um, so this is a huge list of symptoms that I experienced, and I encourage everyone to take pictures and write all symptoms down that you're experiencing. Even if you don't think it's a serious symptom, we forget our symptoms when we feel better. And I have my clients write out, or like I have a sheet, and they check off their symptoms because a lot of the time they come into the office after they have their first blood analysis, and I say to them, how are you doing? Well, nothing's changed. Okay, let's have a look at your symptom chart. So we go to the symptom chart, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. And even for myself tonight, just kind of going over my testimony, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that, or I forgot I experienced that. So I really encourage everybody to um, just, even if you don't think that it matters, write it down, because if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter that you wrote it down. But you might be at that point where like, oh, I wish I would have wrote that down.
Hey, Karen.
So
Karen,
yeah,
can I just interrupt you right there? Don't
yes,
forget where you're at. Don't forget where you're at. But I think this is a big deal, this part right here, because humans adapt to everything.
yeah,
And many times you said it, oh, I forgot that I had that because it just becomes your new normal. And a lot of people no longer attribute that new normal state to something that they've been taking. It's just, oh, that's just the way I am now. And many people will forget that. And a lot of times, maybe a lot of you probably seen this when somebody then goes off a fix or whatever, then that thing comes back and they're like, oh, wow, that's because. So I just want to encourage what you're saying there for people. When you notice changes, gang, it's important to remember what those changes were. And even though it becomes your new normal, remember why it became your new normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Go
Um,
ahead.
yeah, so my list of symptoms, I was in constant state of exhaustion, barely able to function. My body was swollen, inflamed, and painful to touch. I had
Wow.
severe brain fog, dizziness, shortness of breath. I couldn't walk up our stairs. I actually had to crawl on my hands and knees because my legs would tremble from weakness and exhaustion. I had cold hands and feet, dry, scaly skin, and my shins actually looked like fish scales. It was the most bizarre thing. I had dull facial expression, eyelids drooping, eyebrows disappearing, slow speech, poor appetite, cracked heels. This was another really strange thing that I haven't seen in 30 years of in my practice is my heels. It looked like I had taken a knife and just sliced layers to my heel where I could actually lift that layer of skin and cut it off. It was just the most bizarre thing. Um, I had anxiety, panic attacks, depression. My heart would race at the least bit of exertion. There were a couple of times that I actually felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I had increased sweating day and night, constipation, feeling a lack of wanting to live, 3 o'clock afternoon crashes, extreme joint pain, headaches, edema, skin rashes, hives, ringing in the ears, decreased memory, decreased sex drive, vaginal dryness and tearing, insomnia, low self-esteem, slow wound healing, blurred vision. So my
Wow.
entire body felt like it was shutting down. I was gaining weight uncontrollably, 50 pounds within 6 months. There were
Wow.
days I had gained 3 to 4 pounds in a day, and that's not possible to gain that much fat in a day. I was actually gaining inflammation. My nails were brittle and splitting. My hair was falling out. I would wake up with swollen eyes and complete to the point they were almost glued shut. At times, I was recognizable, and I'm actually going to post in the Facebook group that unrecognizable picture. It's really something, and um, I had showed my friend of 50 years this picture of me, and she said, "Oh my gosh, who is that?" And I said, "Well, that's me." So a friend of 50 years didn't recognize me. I developed an intense sensitivity to sunlight. So just being outside made me nauseous and drained. I would often crash after being in the sunlight, ending in bed with a migraine headache. So emotionally, I felt broken. I was anxious, depressed, and felt hopeless. And I remember thinking, how can I tell others sitting in my office how to take care of themselves when I am so sick and I'm not able to take care of myself? And so one day during a major crash that I had, I told my husband I was going to go lay down before I fell down because I just couldn't function. And my husband, he works out of town, and I had not revealed the severity of my illness. I'm not that person to complain. And so he was very concerned. And so while I was laying down, he came in and asked me, he said, "Are you okay?" And for the first time, I actually admitted to myself that no, I actually am not okay. Um, that day, I actually said goodbye to my husband because I didn't think I was going to wake up. And honestly, I was okay with not waking up. I didn't want to live like that anymore. And I know that sounds really drastic, but anyone dealing with thyroid Hashimoto's, I don't know if I can say that, but will understand this. And the last thing I remember was actually my husband kneeling over me, praying, and I was completely at peace with not waking up. Obviously, I did wake up, and miracles were about to begin. So, about 2 days later, I was introduced to a product that helped me immensely. I was on that product for a year and a half, and then I hit another roadblock and started to feel a lot of those same symptoms come back. So I prayed another miracle would come into my life. And my friend Leah, she called me in April telling me about Veracel. And at first I was hesitant, but I read over the info sheet or information that she sent me and watched videos. And I decided I was going to give Veracel a shot. And boy, I'm sure glad I did.
Mm.
I started noticing changes within the first week. I had better sleep, more energy. And the biggest one for me that I felt, and I am now seeing it in my clients, is genuine joy. I cannot get over just how happy I am. And I would have to say probably 90% of the symptoms that I read off, I used to feel are gone now. In that 2.5 months that I've been on Veracel, I've lost 26 pounds and 24 inches.
Wow.
I haven't lost any weight recently, and I'm totally okay with that because I know I lost a ton of inflammation, and not everybody's going to have those results that I had because it was inflammation. It was not fat. And I mean, maybe I did get rid of some, but now the work starts for me. I'm back to walking 5 to 7 kilometers a day, where I mean, looking back, I couldn't get up the stairs. And I used to weight train as well, so I'm going to get back into that. So I'm pretty excited about that. And my body feels light, and I just feel free and renewed. And everything that I went through, I can honestly say, looking back at it, that it was all worth it. And I've learned so much going through this experience, and now I can help others. My clients, my friends are seeing and experiencing incredible results with Veracel, and now Java, which I'm totally addicted to. I love it. So
I was on Kylie's Catch the Wave, and I'm like, you guys are a bunch of drug dealers and users. My gosh. This is like, oh, I need my coffee.
yeah, and my husband took my husband took the other bag to work with him, and so I've only got a couple of days left, so I'm sparingly using it. But yeah, so I'm so deeply grateful that I get to share this product with others, because I know what it's like to lose your health, and I've witnessed that miracle getting it back. I truly had incredible results, and I'm very grateful for that. And seeing my clients on it and just hearing their joy and their testimonies and success with it, we're really on to something here that's great. Yeah. And so that's kind of my testimony. And I always say that when you hear the statement that when you have your health, you have 1,000 dreams, and when you don't have your health, you have one dream. And I can say I have 1,000 dreams again, because I truly believe Veracel has changed my life. I don't know if you have questions, Tere, but I was just going to go into kind of what I know people were asking, like what I had done.
So before you go there, honey, so I just pulled this up because I just asked, what does inflammation lead to? Okay. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disorders, and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
It's kind of a short list, but in that autoimmune disorders, that's a long list, because a lot of different things that come from autoimmune issues. And that inflammation is all gut related, gang, gut related.
Absolutely.
And so when she starts taking Veracel, what Veracel is doing is getting her gut healthy. And this is why the inflammation is reduced. And I want to Veracel is plants, okay? Plants. But when you give your body what that body needs, those specific extracts that are in there, then the gut specifically starts to get healthy, and then the rest of the body responds. And that's what you're hearing from her. Veracel is the tool, but the body is the hero in the story. Really, really important. And so with that, it's important to understand, gang, you may not even realize that you have inflammation in your body. You may not, but the symptoms you have, many of them are going to be related back to inflammation that you have, particularly chronic inflammation. Yeah. So it's really important. What she's talking about here is to me, is what I would call an acute situation, but it tells the story for a lot of us. And you might not have, that was quite a long list. That's quite an impressive list you had there, Karen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm number one.
About all the symptoms that you had. Congratulations.
Number one for my doctor.
Number one, all over again. So now go ahead and now the things that people have been commenting on, asking about, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to make a comment too about anything with itis at the end of it. So that might help people kind of,
Nice.
arthritis, thyroid, anything with itis at the end of it is inflammation.
Wow.
So
There you go.
that is why we're going to see such great results with Veracel, because the gut brain connection it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so some of you have asked what I've been doing to lose this weight, which, I mean, as we discussed, a lot of it is inflammation. So I actually have to go to work now and and start toning up and doing all those things. So so I was using 2 scoops of Veracel a day. What I did, I had no idea that I was going to have these results, obviously. And so I cut out all other supplements to see what this product was going to do. I'm not on any medications, but I cut everything out, supplements, minerals, vitamins, everything. And I wanted to just see what this could do before I started sharing with others. So something else that I had to do, or not that I had to, but I chose to do, was I went carnivore for a brief time. And I started to actually, because when I was eating meat, it was not, I felt my best at eating meat. So I went carnivore briefly, and then I started adding in different foods to see if I had food sensitivities, because that will also cause inflammation. And we are, we're taught that clean eating, it's kind of going the opposite. It's a lot of what we were taught that is clean is really not. And I did have food sensitivities. I love avocados. I love blueberries. They don't love me. My body doesn't love them. So I actually had to cut out avocados and blueberries. Um,
Wow.
and just the other day, I tried again, and I'm like, like, how many times am I going to have to do this before I
Just one
really
more.
realize that blueberries don't agree with me? So I removed gluten. Uh, that was a personal choice. I was eating sourdough bread and it was okay, but I just decided to move it completely. All processed sugar removed. I eat a great big, some people might not agree with this, but a great big gob of honey, raw honey, every single day. That is my sugar. Our brain functions on sugar, as we know. So you don't want to eliminate absolutely all sugar. Um, I did eliminate all deli meats, all nuts, seeds, and seed oils. That is, in my mind, a must. And I can go in, like, at a later date, go into, information of why that is not great choices for us. I removed spinach. Spinach is very high in oxalates, which store in the thyroid. So yeah, there's lots of. I'm happy to help anybody that wants help or has questions. But the other thing is, I didn't actually exercise. In the beginning, I concentrated on nourishing my body, only not only with food, but I used castor oil packs on my liver. I had Epsom salts bath. I was dry brushing. I was eating a lot of Celtic sea salt, which I do every day, taking temperature and pulse readings. So I was doing all of this before I started Veracel. And yeah, it did contribute. But once I introduced Veracel, it literally took off. Was, I would actually chuckle in the mirror because I was like, what? Like the clothes that I had on last week that were a little bit snug, they're too big on me now. So
Oh,
again, not everybody's going to have these results, but some might. And I hope that it does give some people some hope at, feeling better. So I am going to post a picture in the Ford Facebook group after the Zoom call of my own blood work. And what it is going to show is my blood work in May that I had done before I started Veracel. And my stress level was extremely high. Cortisol was very, very high. And it was not a good situation for me. So you're going to see how pale my blood is. And actually you'll see little tiny white dots. That is extreme stress. And when I actually saw that, I thought, what the heck am I going to do? Like, I know my stuff, and I was kind of at a loss. So I was sure happy to see the results August 8th after taking just Veracel.
Are you
And
able to share those here, Karen, or not?
I don't know, I'm not,
Okay.
unfortunately, sorry. I could probably send them to Karen and see if that would work.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds here. So there's going to actually be 3 pictures. There's 2 before pictures and 1. Karen just text it to you?
She's saying yes.
Okay. Okay. So I've sent those.
That'll be good for people just to see. Here, and I mean, we've talked about this numerous times, personal belief only because we don't have, validation of this. But I believe that if we could mandate everybody take, do blood work before Fix and 6 months later and before Veracel and 6 months later, we'd have easily 1 million people in, easily 1 million,
Yeah.
because the blood work just tells a real story and you
Yeah.
cannot, there's no placebo effect in blood work. So
No.
Karen's pulling those together, and so go ahead and continue. And Karen, if you could just pop those up if you whenever you or Kendall have them.
Yeah, so when they pop up there, I'll uh, talk a little bit more about it. But the blood work that is actually on the Facebook page there, that's a client who has been coming to see me for years, and he all of a sudden his blood took a turn for the worse, and I was quite surprised at how rough his blood was.
So
And this is it. Yeah,
this is what you're
this
talking
is
about, right? This is the
yeah,
one. This is the client, not
the
yours.
client. Yeah.
Right.
So um, Bloodwork's kind of, well, it's so that outer edge, that's our bone ring. Yep. And that's a calcium magnesium deficiency, all those little red blood cells that are fraying out. And then we see, some black layering just on the inside of it. His blood is extremely toxic. Um, and then actually to the right side of it, you can see kind of some smearing. And there was, yeah. And then there was, in the center there is some white areas, which is inflammation. The inflammation actually isn't that bad. I mean, I can post some pictures as we go along with my clients before and afters that, yeah, it's just really incredible. So that client, I had told him, like, he was on a protocol, and he just was not getting any better. And I said to him, there's only one thing I can suggest to you that's been working for me. And so I suggested him take 2 scoops of the Veracel. And 28 days later, you can change that. That's his blood work. And that is an incredible, incredible change in 28 days. The center area, that's the colon area. And maybe what I'll do is I'll put a picture of like the diagram of what we're actually looking at, so then people can kind of understand. But that center area is the colon area. So he's showing a little bit of gas there, but that great big black area is gone.
What is
Yeah,
this?
like it's
What?
so the colon area it should be like right in the center, very, very small. So that big black area is actually that's the organ ring. And that is telling me that his intestines are so toxic that his intestines are actually pushing on his organs. So when you get into that, your intestines can enlarge 4 times the size. We have a car length of intestine in us. So you get that enlarging, it's going to start pushing on your liver and your stomach, and then that pushes up into your diaphragm. And all the rest of it. I could go on and on, but it's a just in 28 days, it's an incredible change. Um, yeah, yeah, I think Karen did the side by side there. Yeah, like it's unbelievable. So, and the other thing too, I will get some um, live samples on too. That's a different test that I do. Is from the same drop of blood, and it stays active for about 8 to 10 minutes that I can work with it. And we can see all sorts of things in the live sample. You know, there's yeast, viruses, parasites, what our red blood cells are doing, the count, white blood cells, all of that. And he was literally infested with parasites. And
Are these
so I
are
said
these
to him,
are these parasites here, Karen, or is that just
no, that's it. We'll only see, well, I shouldn't say we'll see parasites in the dry sample, but it will just be like a um just a straight line. Like it looks completely different. But in the live sample,
got it?
I actually have some pictures, some short videos that I'll put in the chat or in the group of what parasites look like in the live sample. Like you see them moving around. So this sample that we're looking at right now, I can keep that sample for 5 years. It's dry. The wet
Oh,
sample I can only do for 8 to 10 minutes, and then
gotcha.
it's done. But so I suggested to him to do a parasite cleanse. And so in 28 days, I was looking at his live sample and I said to him, okay, at least like you did the live or you did the parasite cleanse. And he said, no, actually, I haven't. And I'm like, what? I said, your parasites are gone. And he said, no, all I did was Veracel, 2 scoops. He said, that's what you told me to do. And I said, but I had mentioned to do the parasite cleanse. He forgot about it. I learned that day that Veracel can wipe out parasites, or it makes a healthy environment that parasites don't want to live in. Um, yeah, so that's it's just was quite incredible, and it's great to see on clients' face, the changes that we go
Yeah.
through. So this is my blood, so you can see how different it looks. I don't know if we can zoom in on that, Terry.
Let me
If
see.
you can kind of see the white dots.
Hang on here. So let me go do this. There we go.
Perfect. So you can see the difference. Just it looks like a snowstorm in my blood. So that core center, that is the intestine where it looks a little bit darker. Yep. There's a very small amount of inflammation in there, but it's the tiny little white dots that are completely throughout my sample, that is extreme stress. That is very, very high stress level, high cortisol. And so when we get into the high cortisol, uh, that's when we're not hungry in the morning, and cortisol is too high. Um, and it just leads into so many other things. This is my blood work on August 8th. So it is, again, completely different. Yep,
Why is the color so different? What is up with that?
that is, so there will be a little bit of oxidation from it's a couple of months old, that sample, so it will change. But I was so depleted. I was running on empty again. And that paleness is a part of what I was experiencing, as far as kind of hitting a roadblock again, as I mentioned before. So that is, yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
This is amazing
Uh,
because this looks like the second sample from the other client. This one right
yeah,
here.
yeah. Yeah. I think I have more gas, but yeah, it does. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
it's amazing.
So I don't, yeah,
That's not a blood sample right there, everybody. That's
yeah,
wow, pretty incredible.
yeah. So I'm pretty excited to continue to see results. And I've had a lot of people, that want to come back in that 30 days to see what
Yep.
what their blood's looking like. So
Yep, I blood work is the jam. I I wish more people. I wish we could have people do it. I wish it was simpler to do it and test it, right? That people could just test it at home, but obviously that's not going to happen. But it would just be such a great piece of evidence for all of us if more people
yeah,
would do that. Yeah.
Terry, in the past, we had actually at our conferences, we actually had a blood analysis that brought the machine to the conference, and he would call people up and do blood work, give them a product, and have them to retest, and he would prick their blood again and show it right on the big screen. We could do that.
yep.
That
And
fast?
the blood can change very quickly. My next, I guess, experiment is going to be to have somebody who has not had Veracel and do their blood first, and then give them a glass of Veracel and see how quickly it changes after,
Yeah.
because the blood can change in seconds.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Um, I haven't been paying attention to the comments or questions. Is a violation of, oh, I don't know the answer to that. Okay.
What is
Um,
the question?
it doesn't matter. We'll move on.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so, with what you do, I mean, do you provide protocols for people, Karen, or do you just test the blood and doctors are doing all that stuff? How's that go?
No, I make suggestions to them as far as protocol and um, diet
Yeah,
and that kind of thing too. Yeah.
got it. Nice. All right. Well, that is, I mean, pretty compelling right there. Amazing. And the pictures that you had, I don't know if anybody's seen those, but those are pretty compelling as well. A lot of inflammation there. And it's great I'm sure that your hubby is great to have you back as well. And it's
Yeah. Yes.
got to be life-changing right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. It's
Definitely.
good.
Hey, Jim Rhodes, can you unmute yourself? I know
Yeah,
you came here for Veracel, correct?
you got it.
Could you tell us kind of your story, what happened, and
Sure.
why you
Well,
love Veracel so much?
first of all, I applaud Karen for what she does. And interesting that I've had a best friend who does live blood analysis also. And she's absolutely right. The blood tells you a whole lot about what's going on because everything is transported through the blood. And at any moment you can see what's going on in there and what's getting through and what's not and what's changing and what's not, literally. And so Veracel, before it was Veracel, its predecessor was in existence. It wasn't as powerful as it is now, but I had a very good friend, and we're talking decades ago. He was a little older than me, very successful in business, and he got very, very sick and came down with, finally, the doctors had done everything they could for him from what he was actually dying from. He came to the point that he was being cared for by his wife in his own home because he had very little energy to do anything, even to feed himself or to get to the bathroom and things like that. He had a good friend who had access to the Ace Manna in its original form through the company that had brought that out, and came to my friend Richard and said, Richard, I want you to take this 4 times a day. Every couple of hours would be the best. and start right now. And by the way, the doctors had actually ran out of options and just simply said, make peace and spend the time you can with your family. But he trusted his friend and started. His wife administered it to him at least 4 times a day, if not more. And suddenly things started to change for him within probably the first 10 days. Uh, he got enough energy to be able to move on his own, feed himself. And that just continued until he didn't need a caretaker anymore. And that continued to, he got enough energy back. Now, this transition of how quickly he went down was probably over a series of 3 to 4 months from the time they discovered what the problem was. And it had grown so rapidly in his body that that's why they finally gave up on trying any treatment that they had been doing at the hospital. And within 4 months, that reversal was so dramatic that he was now up helping to take care of his own wife. He not only lived through this, but he lived another 21 years and ended up being the caretaker for his wife as she passed away before he did. Mm. So I knew this predecessor of the Veracel way back when and was introduced to it. And then suddenly, after it had such an impact on so many people, it disappeared from the market, which was a tragedy. But at the same time, now that it's gone full circle and it's back in our lives, I've seen the actual action of what this can do. And Karen, today you shared that story of yours, and that's just the same kind of miraculous possibility. And absolutely knowing, as Tere has said, the body is the miracle if you give it what it needs so that it can perform what it knows how to do. And so I appreciate what you've shared today, and it just reinforced what I already knew and why I got so excited when it was announced that within a few weeks we were going to have this brand new product called Veracel, and then I got the backstory where it came from, and I got very excited because I have someone in my own family sitting in the other room right now playing games with my wife, who at age 15 came down with the same problem and lost the femur bone in his right leg at this young age, replaced with a donor bone, and survived through that craziness. And then it had obviously moved into his lungs. And so he had had 3 different operations on taking out those growths that didn't belong in his lungs, and gave up. If it comes back next time, he told his mom, I would rather just die than go through what I have to go through to have them drill a hole in my back, take my lungs out, cut off the bad piece, put it back in, reinflate, and then send me home looking like a skeleton and like I'm bald and can't remember my own name. So he's been on this product now for the last, it was kind enough for someone named Karen also. I'm not going to mention her last name is Ford, but suddenly I got a package when she heard the story in the mail that I instantly called this grandson and said, get over here now, because they had discovered it was growing again, and his lung again, it was back. And he's been on that, and his last PET scan and everything since he's been on that product earlier than it was released to the public, is that, oh, it hasn't grown. This is most interesting. We'll put off the operation this time. Wow. And send him home. And here he is playing in my house at this very day. Wow, and I am so grateful for these miracles. So I didn't mean to take that much time, Tere. But
it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. I share some things on the Zooms that I do. I'm not going to say it here, but I mean, that's just incredible. We look forward to seeing what happens 6 months from now with him. So great stuff, Jim. Karen, Halwas, anything more that you wanted to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I'm going to try and post as much as I can to in the Facebook group there, and yeah, I'll try and be active in there if people have questions or if they want to message me or.
Well, and everybody just needs to remember that two things. Number one, the stories that she told, her stories, what happened with her. Um, we've had other people that were, let's just call it, I'm going to say medically trained in different categories that got kind of inundated by people asking specific questions. So it's really important, gang, to understand that, Karen is here, wants to build her business, lives a life, has other things to do as well. So just reaching out at random is just be sure that you're respecting the time of the people that are offering their time. And so it's just really important that we let people do what they need to get done as well. So thanks for extending that, Karen. Appreciate that very much. Karen Ford, anything else before we wrap it up, young lady?
No, I just want to say thank you to you, Terry, and also to the other Karen. It's mind-boggling to know what our products really, really do.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons I wanted Karen Halwas to come on, because we need to know how powerful our products are. We're unique. This formulation is exclusive to us with Veracel. And so, guys, take product as serious as you take your health, because you heard Karen share and you heard Jim share. What Karen shared with us tonight is foundation of what can happen when we use the products the way that we're supposed to. So with that, Terry, if you have nothing else, I want to say, Karen, we're so grateful for you and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I would say, okay, so Kayleen put it in there. It's just people are asking about the Facebook page, where it's just, and so the Ford team training is what Kayleen just put in there. That's what you guys need to know.
Can I jump in and just say one thing too? To be very, very careful with compliance. Because if we start suddenly saying, oh boy, this is the thing that's going to cure everything out there,
Yeah.
we're gonna get this company shut down before we turn the block. So we're not doctors. Well, there are some doctors here, but we're not doctors. We're not prescribing, diagnosing, or saying that this cures anything in the human body. We're just saying that we found something that helps the body find a way, if there is a way, to have a remarkable experience, hopefully as good as what you've heard tonight. But every person's going to be different. Every occasion's going to be different. And I think it's in the man's hands above us, as Terry likes to say. It's in God's hand. We don't know what today holds, but we know who holds us in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. It's always about making the body the hero, gang. There are things you can say, but you gotta make the body the hero. We gotta stay away from something called causation. That's the big issue. You can't say I took Veracel, and because I took Veracel, I was cured of X. You can't do it. And so if we just tell the story the right way, and I'm not saying make it up, what I mean is I started taking these things. It gave my body the support it needed to do these things. And so it's really important that we stay there, because Jim is 100% right. Companies get shut down for this kind of stuff. And I'm just keeping it real. One person out there, one rogue person can be the downfall. Really, truly, that can happen. I got my hand slapped by Greg Stevenson because I'm a pretty casual sharer. and Jim's like, Greg's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, why, man? I'm just blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, your position, blah, 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 blah. And I started to realize I needed to take a bit more responsibility on that for me. So, but it's important that we tell the story the right way and make that body the hero. So, with that, great to have you guys all on this evening and or morning, wherever in the world you might be. And Karen does this every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the recording will be popped up in different places. You guys all see that if you guys want to get the recording to anybody. Karen, thanks so much for having us on and for all that you do. Literally, Karen does so much behind the scenes for people, for the whole thing about the coffee's not here if Karen's not here. Literally, I mean, the core Java, literally, that's a real thing. So appreciate all you do, young lady. You're just a real godsend to everybody.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Good night, everyone. If you have guests, go to catchthewavezoom.com. Kylie will be hosting a presentation that is for your guest. You're already convinced, so you don't have to be there if you're already here. But I would encourage you to invite a guest, and it starts in 8 minutes. So good night, everyone. Thanks, everybody, for being on. Karen, we love you so much and appreciate all that you poured into us. And we can't wait to see all of your posts that you're going to put in the 14 training page.
Thanks for having me.